Good morning, good morning. It's Monday again. It's another start of another week, and all that potential for the next week. And last day of November as well. So all sorts of things to be marked at the moment. And have we made our targets for November? What are our targets for December? And of course, I guess we're all starting to look at what we're going to try and achieve for next year. So lots of things keep on our mind. However, for many people, one of the first things that's on their mind is their job. Will it be different this year with everything that's gone on? I don't know, but at the end of the year, so many people do sit there and contemplate the job that they're doing, their career path. Good morning, Angela. Their career path and where it's leading them. So I've got a straightforward question. If you want a new job for whatever reason, when you're considering your next job, there are three things that you really need to be considering. And those questions then, can you do the job? That's the first thing. When you're looking at what jobs you're going to target, the first question is, it sounds stupid, but it's not. Can you do it? Second question, do you really want to do it? Again, sounds a stupid question, but it's not. I wouldn't be asking these questions if they haven't come from my experience. And the last one is, do you think you're going to enjoy doing it? And this is James Foster and Careers Matter. So, can you do the job? So let's just back up a little bit and go back to the context that I'm talking about. So you're coming up to consider your next career step. And when you look at your next career step, you should look at where there are potential jobs that you may be interested in doing. And when you look at that pool of potential jobs or companies that you may want to work for, then you've got to look at the range of skills you've got to match into this, and of course the experience that you've got to match into the potential jobs that could be there. And what I see so many times particularly people that are applying to me is that they don't actually pay very much attention at all to what the skills requirement is for the job that they're applying for. And I get people come to me with all sorts of reasons why they want to work for the company. They come to me with all sorts of reasons why they feel it would be a good move for them. That their desire is to move in that direction. But for that job, they don't have the skills and they don't have the experience at that particular time. There's nothing to say they can't get the skills and experience, but going into a job that requires 4 years experience, let's just say something specific here, 4 years experience in Python developing, and you've never developed in Python before, is not really a good thing. It's not going to get you noticed. And yes, that's an obvious example, I know, but it proves the point. The point is that you may want to move into that. The trick here is go get some Python experience. Go learn how to program in Python. Get into a company that is going to allow you to start with less Python experience than 4 years. Perhaps you've got other development experience that you can build on, and build up your Python knowledge, and then you're in a position that you can actually go start applying for jobs that need somebody with a certain level of experience. 4 years, saying 4 years is a little bit silly in my opinion. The number of years experience isn't really relevant. It's the capability, and you can have somebody with 2 years experience far more capable than somebody with 5 years experience because they're just better at it. So that's the first question. Can you do it? Is that job within your bounds of competence? Have you got the qualifications? Does the experience requirement fit? Does your experience fit the requirement for the role, etc., etc. And as I said, it's not such a stupid thing when you see what I see all the time when I'm working in recruitment. It isn't such a stupid thing at all for me to say that. The next one, though, is, do you really want the job? And this comes down to, to a certain extent, desperation. That people start applying for jobs because they need to move from the job they're in, or because they've lost the job that they're in and they need to get a job. And so in their mind, the first thing they have to do is get a job. And it's and this isn't, what I'm saying here isn't the same as, I want a job to tide me over. You know, I'm prepared to put myself out for a few months. That's another matter. You know, there are certainly, I would certainly consider doing that myself if I needed to do that. But what we're saying here is don't go for the first thing that comes along just because you're desperate for it. Because at the end of the day, it may, you know, it isn't going to serve you well if 6 months down the line you need another job. And you find yourself in the same position again because you're just not getting on with the people, or because the job is not is really not the one that you wanted to do in the first place. It wasn't taking your career in the right direction. It wasn't. It was maybe a backward step or a sideward step into something that was you really didn't want to keep doing. If you see what I mean. So taking the job because it's there isn't a good reason to take a job. Taking a job because you want to do it is a good reason for taking a job. It's and I say, I see a lot of people who apply for jobs, and when I speak to them, when I dig into their motivation, there is no real motivation for that particular job, and I know from my point of view that they are not a good candidate for that job, because if something else is there, they're going to move for it very quickly. And if I place them in that organisation, they're going to churn quite quickly. And that isn't good for my reputation. I need to get people in who stick. So I do a filtering process, and I make sure that people really understand what the job is and that they really, really want to do it. And, you know, I get people who are quite desperate to actually get the job, but they've got to be persuaded that it's not in their best interest just to go for it because it's there. It's not a job that can tide them over. The company wants somebody to come in for 18 months to 2 years, or 2 to 3 years, and they don't want somebody who's just going to come in for 6 months while they find something better. If you see what I mean. And you usually get that from people that are in a more senior position who found themselves out on the market and understand that senior jobs are scarcer than the individual contributory role that they may be considering. And the question that comes back is, well, you've done the senior role. Why would you settle into that other job? So I really do question people's motivation in that situation. There's nothing, you know, it is quite common that people do actually take that step back into an individual contributory role from management. They've had the go at management. Maybe they didn't like it. It's not everybody does. Being responsible for other people is not an easy thing, and it's not necessarily something that everybody's good at. So that's question then is, do you want to do it? That's a very big question that you should ask yourself when you're targeting those jobs. The third thing, you may think this is the same. It's not. Do you enjoy doing it? So when you you may want to do it as in, I need, this is furthering my career. This is progressing me in the way that I want to go. This is going to be something that will build upon the skills and experience that I've already got. It's probably got all of those components to it. But does it have that component that, I really will enjoy doing this? And again, I see a lot of people who understand that perhaps it's perhaps going into an area that they're not really that keen on, but that they want to get the experience from doing it. They want to get the experience from doing it. And as such, when they look at it, they think it's a good move. And invariably, it doesn't work out that way. Again, it's one of those things that there's going to be a churn factor going down the line. Because once they get into it and they find out it really, the job isn't really for them. It isn't something they like doing. I can give you an example of that with my brother. My brother was a school teacher, or he trained as a school teacher when he was 18, 19, and he went in to teach at a school in Wellingborough and didn't enjoy it, so he moved out of that into and became a banker. And he was in banking for several years, and one of our friends who had been a school teacher persuaded him he should go back into school teaching. But he knew he didn't really want to do it. He didn't enjoy doing it. He was good at doing it. He had motivation to do it from the point of view that he'd got all those skills in school teaching and stuff like that. And there was an element of you should be using those for the benefit of others, etc., etc. And so he went back into school teaching and lasted precisely 6 months because he just didn't enjoy doing it. And so it's a ridiculous notion that you should go into something just because you've done the training there, for example. You've got to enjoy, you've got to want to, you've got to have a desire for the job. School teaching, as for example, is a vocational job. It takes a certain type of person, and certainly not everybody's cut out for it. And my brother wasn't cut out for it. He really, he's good with people, and he's good with his subjects. But he just wasn't really the sort of person that could stand in front of a load of kids and tell them and teach them and show them how to do things. It just didn't work for him. So that I hope that example sort of gives an illustration of what I'm trying to say here. If you don't enjoy doing a job, you won't stick at it. It won't last for long, and you won't get the experience that you're really looking to get from it. So when you're coming to a decision to change jobs, or even if you're forced into it, it's a difficult thing, I know, because we all need money, don't we? And just jumping at the first job that comes along because it's there, and you've got you've got somebody trying to pressure you into doing it, etc., etc. You maybe just be a little bit patient and see what other opportunities there may be coming in. If you can do a tide over job, go find something that you can earn a little bit of money at, that nobody's going to hold you to long term. That's a better way of managing that sort of money need process, rather than getting into something that somebody's looking for. The company's looking for somebody to commit themselves to, and in 6 months down the line, you're just walking out of it again because it's not going to serve you well, and it's not going to serve them well, and it isn't going to serve the recruiter well. Nobody is. It's just lose, lose, lose. Take your time, find the right opportunity. When you go through the interview process, always keep in mind that the interview is a two-way process. Get to know the people, find out who you're going to be working with, talk to them about culture, talk to them about working conditions, talk to them about flexibility, all the things that might be important to you, and make sure that you're not going to find yourself in a position that in a few months you're going to really regret having moved into that job. And have to churn and find something different, because, as I say, it won't serve anybody. So that's it for today. That's Monday morning's words of wisdom. I hope that you can get something from that. There will be a link on here if anybody wants to have a free 20-minute consultation to find out a little bit more about how we may be able to help you. And maybe to get some of your burning questions answered, then there's a link with this video. Follow that link, sign up for a free 20-minute conversation. This is James Foster and Careers Matter.